So thank you so much for joining me today, Enda O'Doherty. Am I saying that correct?
That
O'Doherty?
is pretty damn good because it's a very difficult name. Enda O'Doherty, yeah.
Okay. Oh, see, it sounds so much better when you say it. I'm not Irish. I have an Irish last name. I'm married into Irishness, but not Irish myself. So thank you so much for joining us today. Something caught my eye when I was scrolling through feeds the other day. And it was a story about a guy who had a washing machine on his back to raise awareness. So let's just start here at the beginning. For those who have never trekked up Mount Kilimanjaro with a washing machine on their back, can you please tell us what that's like, and please share why you did what you did?
Yeah, do you know what, Ali? I think so many times in life we need to figure out the why first. If you get a strong why, everything else falls into place. You'll find a way of doing something. So I suppose my why is not unusual in Ireland, but I'm an alcoholic. Thankfully, it's 13 years now. I've been sober, but when I stopped drinking, I had the world's worst time. So I literally didn't sleep for about 4 months. I was suicidal. I had panic attacks. I had depression. I suppose, like a lot of people, I didn't realize that I was self-medicating with alcohol. And when I stopped drinking alcohol, I didn't know how to tell my wife I loved her when I was sober. I didn't know how to dance at a wedding sober. I didn't know how to sleep. I was a 30-year-old man and I didn't know how to go to bed at night. So I went through hell and I was very, very lucky to survive. But one of the things I promised myself was when I got out of hell that I was going to make damn sure and not keep walking. I was going to look behind me. And if there was anyone there who needed a hand, anyone that I could help from that darkness, that's what I was going to do. So, like a lot of men too, in my 40s and my 30s, I bought an obscene amount of lycra or spandex, as you guys would say. I bought tons of it. I had spandex pajamas, spandex coat, everything, and got into triathlon and realized that one of my hidden talents was that I had huge endurance. So I wanted to raise awareness, mental health awareness about the issue of suicide, and particularly about men thinking that the masculine thing to do is not admit when you have a problem. And so we came up with this wacky idea, was to do 9 marathons in 8 days carrying a washing machine. And I suppose it was first of all, it was a media hook and it worked because look, we're chatting, it's worked. It was also, I suppose, a really simple yet powerful mental health message. And the message was this: don't carry a stupid load around. So many people will lose their lives this week all over the world to suicide. And one of the reasons they're dying is that the problem they kept to themselves. And if they had simply shared the load, if they'd simply asked for help or looked for therapy or talked to someone about their problem, it literally would have saved their life. So the symbol of the washing machine was, don't carry something stupid around. And I think we can both agree it's world-class stupid to attempt 9 marathons in 8 days with a washing machine. But the lovely thing too, Ali, about the washing machine is when I'm out on the streets or when I'm doing media, radio or TV, everybody smiles, everybody laughs, and isn't it really refreshing and unusual that people can find positive energy and laughter in a topic like depression and suicide? People tell me their stories, people share their stories with me. We've raised a lot of money because of this washing machine. And I suppose, back to your question, Kilimanjaro. So a couple of years ago, I did my first Ironman. I did Ironman UK, and then I did Ironman Sweden. And I suppose they're quite commercial, but their slogan is anything is possible. And in me personally, it really unleashed that potential. So the next, as my wife calls it, midlife crisis part 4, we went to Africa and I climbed 4,000 meters, the world's tallest freestanding mountain, with the same washing machine on my back. And again, it was that simple, powerful mental health message: share the load, ask for help. I think too, there's a secondary message, the way, so many times people look fine, they look healthy, they're smiling. I know when I was at my worst, I had a big smile on my face. My wife is absolutely stunning. She's beautiful. I have a beautiful car. My kids are super successful. I have a lovely home. I had everything, but there's one thing I didn't have, and that was happiness. And when I realized that, I had to do something about rectifying that. But over my that shoulder is my new book. And somebody on the radio said to me the other day, I did a radio interview, and they said, your book cover is perfect for radio, because even a radio presenter, he could see it in his mind's eye. He could visualize it. So when I was at my worst and people said, Enda, how are you? I said, I'm fine. I'm great, and I smiled. But the title of the book is I'm Fine, but you can see behind me there, the image was the reality. That's what I felt like inside. And out it came. And, life has been amazing since, Ali. Amazing.
Wow. Wow. What an incredible story, and looks to be an incredible book. So, a lot of people when they write books, they're nervous about, is anyone going to buy what I write? Like, what has the response been so far?
It has literally exploded. So when the printer sent me my first cover and we put it in a frame in the sitting room, I was happy with that because, it was sort of therapy. Telling the story and writing it helped me a lot. But the magic of the washing machine and the magic of the story, like I did an interview with, a newspaper in Tokyo and the Dubai Times, and like pretty much every day this week, I've done some TV or I've done podcasts or radio. And it just really seems to spark people's imagination. I think a lot of people around the world, they know someone Irish or they know Irish people, and we're very smiley, happy, chatty people and positive people. And I think that combined with the washing machine really has sparked something in people that they want to know more about this story. It's like, it was the most amazing, amazing, amazing trip. If you could only see the face of the porters in Tanzania when this Irish guy gets off a bus with a washing machine on his back, they were like, what is going on here? But humanity and care and love, it's universal, because within a day or two I was walking past Africans who were saying, share the load, that they understood why we were there and why we were doing it. It was amazing. And it's so much of it's like a movie. On the first or second day I passed out, I got really bad altitude sickness, and I threw up all over my wife, which I would not recommend. It was not it's not a great move.
Imagine not.
Yeah, but I was, I was on the ground, and I had passed out, and the medical team were giving me oxygen and steroids. But I remember one of the Africans walked past and he said, Akuna Matata. And I was about to tell this guy where he could shove his Lion King song, because I was not feeling very well and I was very far from home. But I'm sure and I'm sure many of your listeners or readers will know this, that the entire Lion King movie, when was written in Swahili. Did you know that?
I
So
didn't.
all of the characters' names is the actual Swahili name for that animal. So the Swahili word for a lion is Simba, as in Simba is the lion in the story. And what the guy said when he walked past me, Akuna Matata, was, "Don't worry, you'll be okay." So he had never heard of the Lion King. He was just simply telling me I'd be okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's Swahili just. Somebody said to me the other day, what's your favorite story about the washing machine? And there's lots and lots of things that have happened. But when we came down off the mountain, we were in this like African village, and the Africans and the Irish, we were all dancing. We had an Irish flag and the dust was rising and everyone was celebrating that we'd come back down the mountain safe. And I went to give my wife a kiss, Ali, and I was all emotional, but like I had like sweat and dirt and horrible things coming from my nose. And she sort of gave me that, that hand, like, I love you, but not that much. But she did give me a hug. And, someone said to me the other day, what was one of your most powerful memories on that trip? And I said, my wife whispered into my ear, we've three beautiful children. And my wife whispered, she said, if our kids have 1% of your spirit, they'll be lucky people. And yeah, even now I can feel myself welling up with that. But it's like, for someone who talks for a living, like I work as a motivational speaker, and I didn't say anything for the whole day, which everyone was amazed. Yeah, I was quiet for once.
Wow. Wow. What an incredible experience. And for you to share that with the world now.
Yeah.
That's got to make you feel, you've shared these different feats with the marathons, the triathlons, the Kilimanjaro, and then to have all this physical challenge in your life. And then, switching gears, I want to go back to the mental side of things.
Mm.
When you speak about being an alcoholic and these kinds of things, to someone, whether they're an alcoholic or any other sort of addictive thing they have in their life, what recommendation would you give for people who feel like they are too far gone, that's too hard of a challenge, and wouldn't it be easier and wouldn't it be better if I just stay the course, because I don't know if I even want to change? what advice would you have, being on the other side of it now, having been there, done that? What advice would you have?
I think the first thing to realize is that you got to love yourself. You've got to be kind to yourself. I used to feel very embarrassed about being an alcoholic or about having depression or having panic attacks. It's something shameful, something embarrassing. But the funny thing is, what's happened in my life and what I encourage people to realize is that what you perceive as weakness, what you perceive as something that's broken, is possibly the greatest thing about you. In Japanese culture, if they break a precious vase, they don't try and fix it with super glue so that nobody sees the blemishes and the cracks. They put gold and they put bronze so that the cracks shine, because they're proud of, that this has survived, impacted, has survived through generations. And I suppose my cracks, my scars make me what I am. I'm too much, Ali. I love too much. I care too much. I sing too much. I dance too much. I do eat too much. I do everything too much. But one thing I do now is I'm okay with that. To train to do 9 marathons in 8 days, you need to be training about 16 hours a week for a year. When we trained for Kilimanjaro, I trained 16 hours a week. My Saturday and Sunday was 8 to 10 hours going uphill in the mountains, carrying the same weight as an average 12-year-old. And I did that for a year. And most people would go, oh my God, that is just not possible. That's how could you be that dedicated? And
Yeah.
I suppose it's a fine line between dedicated and obsessed. Um, I'm still an addict. I'm still a junkie, but the things I'm addicted to now are things that will help me, help my family, or help my community. And it's my superpower. Like, it's completely normal for me to get up at 5 a.m. And like this morning, I did 5 or 6 miles, and I had a rucksack with weights in it. I ran by the river where I live. If you can imagine this morning, so it was beautiful, beautiful, graceful cranes just standing in the middle of the river, and the sunrise was coming up, and there's a medieval castle behind the sun, behind where I live, and there were dolphins swimming in the water.
What?
Like, it sounds like the most beautiful painting that you'd ever see,
Yeah.
but I saw that this morning because of my addiction, because I had to get up and exercise this morning, you know? Um,
That's
you know,
certainly finding a blessing and a curse, huh? Like finding.
that's it. Yeah. Yeah. But you said to me, what advice would I give someone? The simplest advice I give anyone, and I give people all the time, is take an action. Like, you don't have to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with a washing machine. Your Kilimanjaro could be, to not eat fried food today. Your Kilimanjaro could be to tell someone that you love them. Your Kilimanjaro could be, to get off your couch and walk to the end of your street. We all face different challenges in life. My job is to inspire people and have people believe in themselves, and to make people see things positively. One of my favorite finishes, Ali, when I speak for conferences and businesses is to tell people that, you and I, or the average American or Canadian or Irish, whatever nationality you are, the average person lives just 28,000 days. Days. That's all you get. And people who say, oh, focus on how many years I'm going to live, 78 years or 80 years, it's actually 28,000 days. So, that's why for me, one of the advice I'd give people is get up today and start living. And if you've got a battle to fight, fight like hell. But don't sit on the couch eating pizza, watching Netflix and think you're living. You're not, you're surviving.
Right.
And as a human, you or me, like, we're worth way more than that. Our purpose is greater than that. Like, I often say to people, what makes us human is our humanity, our ability to, like, even tonight, for you to meet me for the first time, and we can talk and relate and share ideas, and someone will listen to this and it will help someone. That's why we're here. And I think I say to people, definitely take action. Definitely believe that no matter how dark, no matter how horrible the storm you're walking through is, I promise you, there is the most beautiful sunshine at the other side of those clouds. You just have to keep fighting, and you have to keep walking, and you'll get through. And when you do get through, you look back and you'll be grateful. And I often think that a lot of people look back and realize, I've got to help somebody else who feels like this. Sometimes it's a bit awkward. Sometimes people talk to me like I'm Mother Teresa, and it's a little bit awkward. And then I crack some really dirty, obscene joke, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. I didn't think he was like that. I'm just me. I'm just Enda. I'm just human. But I think one of the greatest things I would say to someone, and it's a strange thing to say to someone in crisis, is the best way to help yourself is to help someone else.
Yes.
You know, I'm looking at your website tonight, and I'm looking at articles in the magazine. Like there's a theme running through that, and
Mm.
that the people who help other people, it's great therapy. You
Yeah,
know, it really makes me feel better about me. It gives me mission. It gives me purpose. It gives me
yeah.
clarity. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, well, and you said something really profound a moment ago that you may not have realized is, I mean, focusing on just being human, like finding that common thread in our humanity, which is something, Jack and I with Awareness Ties, currently we represent 23 different causes, and yet no matter what your cause, we're all tied together. And it's that awareness that ties
Yeah.
it together. It's that human cause.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
you make
I
humanity
spoke
your
I
cause.
spoke at what's the company? Blackbaud. Do you know Blackbaud in Baltimore? The BB conference. So they run software for analytics for charities, and they flew me over to Baltimore and I spoke at their conference. But I think I said that line about, for me to be human is to show our humanity, is to care, it's to help other people. That's our purpose.
Yeah.
And gosh, Twitter exploded with one sentence, because sometimes I think one of the nice things that I have, or one of the gifts that I have from this experience, is that I have super sharp clarity on
Mhm.
who I am, why I'm here, what's happening in my life. Um, I have clarity. I know things that people don't know. Like I know the power of a smile. I know the power of kindness. I know when I was at my absolute worst and thinking about taking my own life, I can think back to people who gave me a piece of candy, a cup of coffee, a smile, a phone
Uh-huh.
call, a text. And they didn't realize that that probably was the difference between life and death that day, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
which is, it's incredible. Like I'm very aware too of the responsibility that, you have and that I have when we speak about issues like this, in that, um, like I refuse to go on any radio show in Ireland or UK unless they give helpline numbers afterwards,
Hmm.
because I don't want to say to people, share the load, ask for help, and then just leave them hanging there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I had a journalist, Ali. I know you'd never ask me a horrible question like this, but I had a journalist ask me once, "Where are your demons now?" Which I
Mm.
thought was a really powerful question. But
Yeah.
I said to him, "They're on the long list. They're on page 14 of my list of problems,
Mm.
but I probably won't get to them. They don't really matter anymore because my life is so full and my life is so busy, and
Mhm.
he was really surprised. He was like, "Wow, can't believe you said that," because
Yeah.
he was a very young journalist and he just got a job for this really important newspaper. And he said to me, "You live your life like you're terminally ill." And I said, "I am." And the poor guy was like, he nearly fell off the chair. He was like, "Oh my God, my editor never told me. I don't have to. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I should have known this." And I said, "No, no, you are as well." I
Hmm.
said, "I live my life like I'm terminally ill because I am." I said, "It doesn't matter how much quinoa I eat or how much lycra I wear. I know what's going to happen somewhere around 75 to 85 years. That's going to happen.
Right. Right.
But I'm intent on squeezing every ounce of juice out of that life.
Mm.
My mom died, Ali, 2 years ago from breast cancer, and it was a really tough time. But because I work as a speaker, my dad comes to me, the day she died, and he goes, "You're doing the eulogy." And I was like, "Oh God, look, I can barely function, and now you want me to get up like a performing seal?" And like as he said, you're the guy in the family who can talk. You talk. So what he didn't know was I had spent 2 years writing that eulogy because I knew this was coming. She had stage 4 cancer, but around the removal and the funeral and the hospital, what struck me was I was asked maybe a couple of hundred times, "What age was your mom? What age was your mom? What age was what age was she? What age was she when she passed?" And the thing was, it struck me, and I said it in the eulogy, that that number was just completely immaterial.
Hmm.
I've known people who've died at 14 and were like the most brilliant fireworks explode in the sky. They left massive, massive impact, positive impact on everyone around them.
Hmm.
And what struck me about my mom's life was that, okay, she died younger than she should have because she had cancer. But the number at the end isn't the important thing. It's the content of our lives.
Hmm.
It's what do we bring to our families? What do we bring to our communities? What do we bring to the world? That's what matters, not the age that we leave. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, no, you're correct. Because I have this lovely bracelet that a friend of mine gave to me years ago, and it was, "Life isn't about the number of breaths you take, but the number of times that your breath is taken away." Like it's those
Wow.
breathtaking moments.
Wow. Yeah.
And so it's And so you're right. And I hear you, and I appreciate all that you're sharing with us, because it begins with awareness, like being
Yeah.
aware. And then what do you do with that awareness? What will you do? What actions will you take? And the actions that you decided upon finding gratitude in that clarity, and making it a commitment based on that clarity, to live your life, in a different way.
Mm.
That's inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so many times, like we were coming down off the mountain in Kilimanjaro, and just so you know, I am still sober, because when I tell you this, you're going to go, that nice Irish guy, he lost it the day I spoke to him. Because we were coming down off the mountain, and a little bit in front of us, I was very tired, obviously, and my wife said, "How bad are you?" And I said, "I'm really, really tired. I'm really, really bad." And she's my rock. She's always beside me, always guiding me, always taking care of me.
Mhm.
She looks like she's like an Irish Barbie, if you can imagine that. But she said, "How bad are you?" I said, I'm hallucinating like I did on the 9 marathons." She goes, "Oh, what can you see?" And I look in the distance, and I said, there's a couple in front of us. I can see Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones." And on my word, we get to the car park. Who was this guy in front of me?
No.
Harrison Ford and his wife coming off the mountain at the same time as us. Like, how is this even possible? How
Right.
is this even possible? Because on the Belfast to Waterford walk, like I don't know if you've ever done a marathon. Have you done a marathon, Ali?
Oh, I've not. No.
Okay, well, 26 miles hurts.
Yeah, I would
And
imagine.
then do 26 miles 9 times in a row with the washing machine really hurts. So on that walk, I lost all of my toenails. I lost the fat pads in the front of my feet. My heels came off. I had what can only be described as combustible diarrhea. And then I began hallucinating because I was getting so tired. Like the main road, I was walking on the main road, and it turned into a snake, and I could see the snake. And I was like saying to my friends, "Can you see the scales?" And they were like, "You're pretty tired now. You're overheating. You need to, we need to cool you off." But it was an amazing adventure. But it's funny. The choice I had at that point, say 8 marathons in, was the identical choice I had on the start line. It was take one step. That's all you have to do sometimes. It's sometimes people overthink life and overcomplicate life. You just have to do one small action, persistent, consistent actions, and you can do something amazing. I had such powers of concentration that when we every day, at the end of the marathons, we'd go to a hotel, and we had a whole physical therapy team and a medical team, and everyone was chatting, and they'd say, "Oh, do you remember that beautiful girl we met?" Or, "Did you see that car? Did you see that amazing house?" And I had to admit, I saw absolutely nothing, because I
Right.
pick a point on the road in front of me, maybe 2 or 3 feet in front, head down, and focus on that. And I can focus so deeply that it's almost like time travel. So 9, 10 hours later, I feels like 5 minutes to me. I've completely gone, left the planet. But I think, it was a life-changing experience for me.
Mhm.
Um, we came back to my hometown, and the Coast Guard flew a guard of honor over where we were walking. And the police closed the city center. So many people turned out to see this guy who was coming home with his washing machine. But there's one story I'd love to share with you. If we have time, do we have time?
Please do. We have time for more. Sure. Sure.
Brilliant. Yeah. This is like just shocking. But um, so we were walking away from where there was a big band, and a huge big crowd had gathered, and the local hotel were having like a reception for us. So as I walked away, this little lady came over. She was tiny, little petite lady, and she said, "Do you mind if I get a selfie with you and your washing machine?" Which strangely happens a lot. So I, I picked this little lady up, and I popped her up on the washing machine. I put my arm around her, and my wife took the selfie. And then this lady said to me, she said, "Have you got a minute to talk, Enda?" And I said, "Of course I have. I always have time to talk." And she said to me, she said, "I have been following your adventures on Facebook." And she said, "On the first few days of your walk from Belfast to Waterford, it was basically the length of Ireland. And she said, on the first few days of your walk, she said, when it was really hard for you when you were going through hell." And I said, "Yeah, I can remember. Like, it's only a few days ago." And she said, "I was going through hell as well." And she said to me, "Ali, I wrote a letter to my husband and my children saying goodbye. And I decided on the Monday night that I was going to take my own life." And she said, I got every piece of medication in the house together that I could find. And I made my peace with God. And I was going to die that night. She said, I was flicking through Facebook and I saw you and I saw your friends. I saw the charity that, that you were raising money for. And something clicked to my head. She said, I just thought, as long as you were prepared to keep fighting for me, as a total stranger, you'd never met me. You couldn't possibly know what I was going through. She said, as long as you were prepared to keep going through hell, I said, I'll keep going as long as you would. And the next day she told her partner how she felt, who had no idea, by the way, no clue. And she got medication, she began counseling. And 8 days later, here she was getting a selfie with me. And this lady said to me, she said, I didn't really come for the selfie. This lady said, she said, I came to thank you for saving my life. Now, I use that when I'm speaking about resilience and mental health, because I often tell people, I've never been struck by lightning, but I'm absolutely convinced I know what it feels like, because I was just shocked to my core in a joyous way. And sometimes people will say to me, Enda, why do you put your body through hell like that? Or why do you spend so much time, on events like this? And, it's because of moments like that. And I could tell you 100 stories like that. It's better than Gatorade, caffeine, or anything else. It just gets me up in the morning and gets me going, because you hear the most incredible stories, and I know my job is to inspire people, but being honest, a lot of the time it's the reverse. The inspiration, it bounces. It's like sunlight on a mirror, it just bounces back on you. It's just fantastic,
Yeah.
But I'm really, really lucky. I mean, to experience things like that, to meet people like that, like what a blessing. Like how lucky am I,
Right. Well, for sure. And I think there's this exchange of energy between giving and getting. There is, this exchange, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's ingrained. It's the design of our humanity, I think. And it is, like you're saying, through stories.
Yeah.
People always say, it's so cliche, oh, sharing is caring. But
Yeah.
it is. And what a difference. I mean, your story saved her life. Your story has saved many lives.
Yeah. I don't think people realize the power of words. We throw words around during the day, maybe compliments, maybe sometimes arguments. We don't realize how powerful they are. I spoke at a conference. Local government had me speak to some leaders about mental health, and they liked it so much. They insisted in this particular region that I was working in, that every single member of their staff heard me speak. So literally the street cleaners, the accountants, the CEO, everyone had to come and do a session. And I was so happy that it went like that, but at one of these sessions, this lady came up after my presentation and she was a bit tearful, and she said, I just want to thank you. She said, I'm having such a bad time lately, not in work, but just in life. And she said, I just want to thank you for the hope and inspiration. And I said, you're very welcome. And I love hugging. If we meet, Ali, I will break you in half with a hug. I'm a great hugger. And but COVID is cramping my style at the moment.
All of us do.
Yeah. But we're only 6 months away from good hugs again. So, but she said to me, she said, my husband and myself had been trying IVF, and we had gone through, I think she had gone through 3 cycles. She said, look, I just can't take the sadness and the money and the pressure. Look, she said, but you know what? Having listened to you tonight, I'm going home and I'm going to tell that husband of mine, we're going to bloody do this once more. And I said, good for you. And I forgot, just, there was 100 people taking photographs and signing books and all that malarkey. And but 2 months ago, the usual, in the morning, I went, oh my God, there's like 100 emails. Where do I start? And I just randomly, I should do the logical thing and go top to bottom. I just randomly picked an email, and I opened this email, and it was a photograph of the most beautiful baby you ever saw in your life. And underneath it was a message from this woman saying, thank you for making me believe. Now, I am not saying, and I don't want any misunderstandings here, I'm not saying I have the power to impregnate people with my words. I'm not saying that, okay? But I am saying that, people need hope and belief. And, so many times in charity work or in life struggles, what I see with, and I see it with corporates, I work with a lot of sporting teams as well, because, the ideas are universal to life, to business, to people, to humanity. And so many times I see people that just at the point where you think, I'm completely finished here, I cannot go one step further, nothing good is going to happen, it's game over. That's right on the edge of where the magic happens.
Yes. Yeah. It's
and
always right there.
Right there.
Right at the
But
edge.
you just got to hold on for 5 more minutes or 5 more days, because that's when it happens,
That is when it happens. I can't thank you enough for sharing these stories. And I'm so pleased to be able in turn to share your story with
Oh,
our
brilliant.
viewers and
Thank
our
you.
readers. And it is my hope, and I'm sure your hope as well, that people, upon hearing your stories, will be inspired to share stories of their own and realize the value of their voice, because we all have it. It's just finding it and sharing it. And you have found yours and found such a beautiful way to share these moments that will perhaps give others moments that perhaps they wouldn't have had upon not hearing them. So,
Yeah, it's magic. It's magic. Like I say,
yeah.
it's a real privilege and it's a real honor. I think I have a distinct advantage too, because I was talking to a client in America that I was working with recently, and they said, "Did you kiss the Blarney Stone?" I said, "No, I took a bite out of it."
Big healthy bite.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But I don't know. Like I think too. We speak English. Lots of countries around speak the world speak English, but I'm definitely aware in my travels, and I'm sure if you've read any Irish poetry or literature, we have an unusual way of using language and framing expressions, and
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
I think there's a special word in Gaelic. I would speak Gaelic, so
Uh-huh.
the word shanchi, and shanchi is like it's like a tribal storyteller, and
Uh-huh.
that knowledge and information, you don't just give the words, you've got to shape them, and you've got to make them beautiful and make it interesting so that people can hold on to those stories. Like, and it's the nice thing about Ireland in Irish, and the Irish language and meaning. Like, my name in English is Enda, but in Gaelic it's Éna. It means beautiful, like the birds. I was, when I had all the hair and nice tan, it's gone downhill. I hit 50, my hair fell out, my teeth fell out, my prostate fell out. Disaster. The morning after my 50th. But and my family name is O'Doherty. And if your MC Maguire,
Yeah.
do you know what the MC is?
No.
There you go. So it's the son of Mock. It's short for MAC, which is the son of. So it's the son of Guire, or descended from the Guires. And if you have O'Connor or O'Sullivan or O'Mahony, the O is the same thing, descended. So my family name means O'Dohertig. In Gaelic, if you said Jenny McDocherditch, means I'm going to hurt you or harm you. So it's the hurtful family. So my mom had this lovely idea that she'd have the yin and the yang. So I'd be gentle and beautiful like the birds, and then have the dangerous family names. But it's one of the wonderful things about Ireland. Hopefully, have you been, Ali? No.
No, not yet. But
Ah, you got to
these days
come. You
we'll
got
have
to come.
to make it, and we'll look you up and um,
I'll show you my freshwater dolphins and my medieval castle. It sounds like a tourist ad, but honestly, it's true. It's literally 5 minutes walk behind my house. It's amazing.
all right, remember, this is all recorded and documented. Nick and I pop over and we're on your doorstep. You promised some dolphins.
And do you know what I will promise you? Dinner at my house, because my wife cooks like you would not believe. So
And
she's, but that's back to we're talking about the whole, value of life.
mhm,
Like, we will eat local food, seasonal food, non-preserved food, healthy food.
mhm,
It's, nobody I know puts cheap gas in their car. Your car costs a fortune, and you value it. You value your body, you feed it well. Like, we have non-negotiable, we learn every day.
mhm.
Somebody, on Valentine's Day, one of my friends was like, he said, "Oh, you're going to give your wife breakfast in bed today?" And I said to him, "No." And he said, "Why are you not?" And I said, "We have breakfast in bed every morning of our lives,
Mhm, mhm,
because if we don't spend that half an hour together with coffee and bagels or whatever,
mhm.
life is so busy right now and so manic, we
Yeah,
wouldn't see each other. But what's the point in having money if you don't have a relationship, you don't have a family,
right, right.
And in the same way, and then the link back to, the charity work.
Mhm,
Like, my dad's a very wise man. He would say, what's the point in having money in a bank account if you've nothing in your soul?
right.
It's completely pointless.
Mhm,
I've got $5.5 million, but I'm an idiot and nobody likes me, nobody loves me. Like, what's
right,
it's no good. It's no good.
right.
But we try to keep those pillars, those non-negotiables.
Mhm,
Exercise is one.
mhm.
It's not a choice. It's,
Right,
brushing your teeth is not an option. Going
right,
to the toilet, you wouldn't say, I'm not going to go to the toilet this week, I'll give it up for a week or two.
right.
You go, you can, it's so
Listening to
in
your
our,
body for sure. Like, and we need.
yeah, so in our house, we look after, I'm very aware that my physical health and my mental health are totally intertwined. Like, right now, with COVID lockdown, all our gyms are closed,
Mhm,
and it's driving me crazy, because I'm missing the coffee and my friends, and I'm missing the,
yeah.
the music and the
Mhm,
social side of it, and even with with masks in Ireland, like I really miss people smiling. I love to make people laugh. I love to see people smile.
Yeah.
And I'm really missing that, you know. And like I said, I'm missing hugs too. But you know, the great thing about, you know, you were talking earlier about my transformation from, like, I was drinking 4 bottles of whiskey a week. Like my Friday night drink was a pint or a liter, you know, a full bottle of vodka. And I
Mhm.
usually drank cough syrup with that because, you know, a large bottle of vodka wasn't doing anything for me. But
Mm.
because I've had those dark times, I'm really grateful for the good times. And
Mhm.
it's linked to COVID, because I can't hug people, smile at people, can't go to restaurants, can't go to the gym, I really miss the theater. I love theater. I love art galleries and museums.
Mhm.
Um, when I get those back, oh my God, I'm going to appreciate them so much, you know?
Yeah,
So
I know, and that's for sure. It's finding the gratitude in these challenges that we face, and so and you are certainly a testament to that. And
there's a friend of mine, Ali, you'd love him. So he works in he's emergency response for the police. You know, he's like one of these snipers that he gets called into the worst scenarios ever. You know, like hostage situations, bank robberies. That's his job. Like he said to me one day, he said, "Enda, you go to work every day with a laptop on the front seat of your car. I have a machine gun." And I was like, "Okay, Paul." But we were talking at the start of COVID, and he said, "How are you coping?" And I told him all the things I was doing. Like I was doing yoga every night, you know, was doing yoga in the nighttime, was exercising in the morning. I went back to college and did a diploma in digital marketing. I was ringing a family friend member twice a day, everyone. I was just keeping busy, you know. I upgraded my website, you know. I worked. And he said, "Oh, that's so good." He said, "When we have an emergency in the police force and we sit down afterwards," he said, "you know, they're having their review meeting. We
Mhm.
have one question. And the question is, did you survive or did you thrive?" He said,
Uh-huh.
because if we just survived, the next time around, something will go wrong and one of us gets badly hurt or things go wrong. He said, but if we thrived, if we did really well, it doesn't matter what the next crisis is because we know we're just going to keep getting better, you know?
Mhm.
I love that mindset. Like, that's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. It's so it's a right. So it's a don't get by, get better. You know, like
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
times you just
yeah.
well, I
But
think
it's liberating for people to think like that because
yeah.
I see so many people are like, someone said to me that, "Oh my God, isn't lockdown so terrible?" And I said, "Do you want the truth?" And they went, "Yeah." I said, "I love it." I said, "I'm with my family. I've learned more. I'm happier. I'm thinner. I'm stronger. I'm funnier." And, you know, it's just so many good things came out of it. And they were like, "Are you living on the same planet as us?" And I said, "Sometimes, yeah, sometimes." But you've got, you know, I think we got to think like that. You know, we
Oh yeah,
really
for
do.
sure. It's 1% what happens to you, 99 what you make of it. You
I
know,
so
and
wish I'd
so
taken a pen when I started talking. That's the sixth thing you've said that I went, "Oh, must remember that." I'm not going to remember any of it. You're going to be off the phone. I'm going, what did she say? What did she say?
this will be recorded. I'll share it with you. No, but you know, and honestly, thank you so much for sharing the story. It's such an honor and a pleasure to get to know you, to you know, to hear such powerful, strong words that I think are going to empower so many. So
Thanks,
on
Ali.
behalf of Jack
Thank
and
you so
myself, I
much.
wish Jack could be here with me to hear all of this, and I can't wait to share our conversation with him and with everyone.